Today, we are going to give the mini Keg Tap System an upgraded dip tube. So if you don't know or aren't familiar with my mini Keg Tap System, I'll put a link in this description of the video here. But basically, I fashioned a way to be able to use these 5-liter mini kegs with a standard ball lock tap system using ball posts and your traditional CO2. So basically it turns this little mini keg into a standard 5-gallon keg for homebrew. But, ooh, nice sound there. But what I've been using is either plastic or copper for dip tube. But somebody posted, and I'll do my best here to give you a shout out, that you can use a standard 5-gallon corn keg dip tube in place, and it does actually work. So this dip tube I've actually just stolen from this other mini keg that I have, and I'll post links to this as well because I found these for $1. You can get used corny keg dip tubes for $1, and they're a lot longer, and so once we use this one, it's not going to go down very far at all. So if I really want this to work and I want to use it, I'm going to have to order a longer one, and then I can just basically cut it to the right length that I need it. But for this purpose, I just want to show you how to put this together because it does take some effort here. Now, it's not hard, but first you're going to take your ball posts here, okay? Now you get 2 ball posts. One of them has grooves around a nut here. The other one does not have any divots in it. So can you see the difference there? This one has little grooves in it here. This one does not have any grooves in it. So it's easy to get these mixed up, but the one with grooves is for your gas, okay? So this is gas in. The one without it is for your liquid out. So we're gonna focus on the one without the grooves on it. We're gonna take it apart here. So for this, you're gonna need 2 wrenches, one to hold it in place. So let's look at this here. So it's got a threaded piece, it's got a gasket, it's got what looks like a nut, it's got a smooth piece that looks like a washer kinda, and then another nut. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold this here, so on the smooth part, and I need to take the top of this off. So that's what we're gonna do here is take the top of this off. So with one pair of my pliers here, I'm gonna hold that in place, and with the other pair, I'm going to loosen this nut, and we're gonna take the top piece off. So you can just get it started here and it comes off pretty easy. Now, watch out because there's a spring in here and what looks like a mini dip tube almost, okay? See, so you've got this little tube with a washer on it, and then in here is a spring to keep everything in place, which keeps this little piece inside so that you're not just getting stuff shooting out of there at any moment. So basically, this comes out of here, whoop, then your dip tube replaces that, okay? Then you can just slide this piece back on, screw it back together. You do have to push kind of hard here because that spring is pushing it back. And then at this point, you tighten it as much as you can with your fingers there, and then you don't want to do this too tightly, and then you can just give it just a little boop, just a little tighten there. So that's that part. Now, again, you can find the link in the video here if you need to figure out how to put this whole system together. But you need your threaded T here. This is the main piece. So this is our liquid out here, and that goes in the top. We screw that in there. Okay. And then we've got our gas in. We can screw this into the side. Now, remember, if you're doing this and putting it together, you really need to use that Teflon tape, that plumber's tape around it to make sure it's going to be airtight, and then screw these in. But I'm just, for the purposes of this tutorial, going to do it really quickly. Now, at this point, we put this is a 2-inch nipple here on the bottom. And that is going to go into our bung, and then our bung goes in the keg here. So a quick note, I ordered these nipples online. They're just plastic PVC. It's a food grade. And unfortunately, the dip tube does not fit into there. So I think a good solution would be brass. This is galvanized steel, which is something that you do not want to come in contact with the beer. So it's okay at this point because you don't fill the keg up all the way. So if the galvanized steel goes down into it a little bit, it's not going to be in contact with your beer all the time. So it might be okay. And it's something that I would use, but just be safe with what you're doing. But the best thing to do would be to buy the dip tube first, then go to the hardware store and find a 2-inch nipple that has an inside diameter that is big enough to go around this. If you can't do that and you're looking online, look at the specs for the nipple and make sure that the ID is bigger than the OD of your dip tube. So the OD is the outside diameter, and they're measuring how big the dip tube is in diameter, and the OD is the inside diameter, which will be the inside, how big the opening is on the inside of the nipple. So if I would have had this dip tube before and it does show it online what the OD is, then you can just find those numbers and then make sure that those are going to be big enough to work before you order it online. So let's go. Once you've got every piece of equipment that works for you, you can just screw that nipple there on the bottom. The rubber bung goes into the keg there, and then you just work it in. And it's nice. It's hard to get in there, which means it's going to be airtight. Then here, if you've got your keg or your CO2 tank, the gas goes on. Whoop. And then we've got our tap here, which goes on top. And then that's it. Voila. With an improved dip tube there for the mini keg tap system. So there you go. I hope you enjoy it. You can work it out for yourself. If you have any questions, feel free to leave something in the comments. And if you do make this, I'd love to hear how it worked for you. So go ahead and send me a message as well. Again, my name is Drew Smith. I'll see you next time.